good people? Welcome back. I hope you guys have had an awesome day today. Today, I'm going to be starting a new Minecraft hardcore world with today's goals being getting diamonds, getting building blocks, and finding good land to build on. And as I do that, I'm going to be reading to you guys embarrassing Reddit stories I found online. I hope you guys enjoy them just as much as I did reading them. Now, the first one we're going to get into reads: I think my wife's best friend is developing feelings for me, and my wife doesn't want to believe me because it's her best friend. Yes, I'm aware I'm going to sound arrogant and like a narcissist. Get over it. My wife and I have known each other in total 20 ish years. We have dated for 9, married for 5. She has known her best friend Daniela since end of high school slash early college. They are like sisters. Daniela has horrible luck with guys, abusive relationships, toxic relationships. She's had it all and some. I know this because she vents about it to my wife and me all the time. Recently, she just got through a particular rough relationship, which she decided she was no longer going to date and just be single for a while. She began making comments to my wife about how lucky she is that she has me, and it must make her feel so good to have a supporting, caring, loving man in her life to take care of her. This is when her changed behavior began. She has been very clingy to me. She never was before. When she comes over, head on my shoulder, sitting on my lap, she tells me all the time that I make her feel safe and comfortable. She always asks how my day is going and if I'm happy to see her, or how I think her body looks in her outfit, which she kinda did before, but now she draws attention to her feminine areas. A joke was made by my wife about Daniela being my second wife to do all the stuff my wife doesn't feel like doing. Daniela jumped onto this and now refers too often enough as second wife. My wife thinks it's funny, and it was, until Daniela sent me a picture of a ring she wanted because even your second wife needs a ring. I have brought all this up to my wife because I don't want to keep her in the dark about anything. And she just says things like, that's just her, or she doesn't mean anything by it. My fear is that Daniela is getting what she's never gotten from any of her past relationships: comfort, validation, safety, and that she will become attached to this sort of fantasy. I don't want my wife to think I'm doing anything behind her back. But as I have stated, she just brushes it all off. Am I just being too observant? Or is there something there my wife isn't seeing? Screw it. I decided to talk to my wife about everything going on and my concerns about it. Turns out my wife is aware of the situation and is actually partially behind it. Apparently, she brought up the idea of by using me to show her best friend what to look for in a guy was a good idea, but has gone a little farther than she thought it would. Forgive her. She had good intentions. So we are both going to sit down with Daniela and talk about everything next time she comes over. Fast forward next day, Daniela came over. We all sat down at the table. The kids are at their aunt's for the night. I stated that I wanted everything to come out, all the cards on the table. I want to know everything. So this is what went down. Daniela has always had awful luck with men. She vents to me and my wife about it all the time. During a conversation when I wasn't present, Daniela had said something along the lines of wishing she could find a man like yours because she will never know what it feels like to be genuinely wanted and appreciated. My wife made a bad decision, and in trying to comfort her friend, suggested treating me more like a boyfriend than just a good friend. Nothing physical, just the support and comfort and validation for a little to get an idea of what to look for in a man. Daniela said she was fine with that, but when she started to get it from me, she wanted more and more and started to cross boundaries to get it. The lap sitting, that kind of stuff. I asked my wife about it, and she said it caught her by surprise, but didn't exactly make her uncomfortable with her friend. It was actually the mentioning of Daniela wanting a ring that she finally started to see that this was getting out of control. Wife said she realized she messed up, but didn't want to say anything to me about it. I explained to both of them very thoroughly about how ridiculous this entire thing is, how there are better ways we all could have helped, how this could have destroyed friendships and marriages. They should have come to me, and we all could have figured out ways to help each other together. There were apologies from both parties. Daniela is still our friend, and she will be coming over in a few days for us to discuss how she can potentially work on herself and things to look for in men she has an interest in dating. My wife is very sorry to Dee and me about the entire thing. So, in the end, my wife made a mistake that she is remorseful for, learned from, and will come out better for it. Daniela will have help working on herself and working towards a healthier future. And then there's me, tired and I want a beer. The next Reddit story we're going to read begins with: Am I wrong for walking out of a dinner after being accused of supporting incest? For reference, this happened on Thursday evening. We are all in our early 20s. Thursday was our friend Sarah's birthday. To celebrate, our friend group decided to go out for dinner. There were about 10 of us. Everyone was in a good mood, and it was really nice to just talk to everybody about whatever for hours, especially since I kind of had a stressful week. Hours into the dinner, we landed on the topic of movies slash TV shows that we were watching. Our friend Amy mentioned a show that I had also watched. As soon as she brought it up, I said that I really liked the show and that the acting, writing, and directing was top notch. Mary chimed in and said that she really didn't like the show and how she had been watching other things. Cool, to each their own. Mary then asked me how I felt about the main romantic pairing in the show. I responded that I liked it and thought the romance was cute. This is where the drama started. For context, I don't want to get too much into it because it might be confusing, but basically, the main romantic pairing is between the male lead and the female lead. There are some people who have interpreted that these characters to be related to each other. I do not. But I know that people are free to think whatever they want, and honestly thought that this topic was harmless. Well, I was wrong. Mary took offense to me saying that I liked the romance. She asked me if I supported incest. I said, of course not, as the characters are not related. She said that they are related, and that me supporting their pairing is supporting incest. Mary then said that I should educate myself before saying stupid shit. I was dumbfounded and thought she was joking, but she was really angry with me about this. She told me to rethink my values because supporting incest makes me a horrible person. I told her she was making harmful accusations over a TV show. Our other friends were telling her to stop, including Sarah, but she kept claiming that I was a disgusting incest supporter. She then claimed I was homophobic since the male lead is bisexual, but still ended up with a woman. Mary just wouldn't stop saying shit like this. So here is where I may be the asshole. I left Sarah's dinner. My friends were asking me to stay, but I felt uncomfortable, so I paid for what I ordered and left. Many of my friends reached out to me on Friday to ask if I was okay. Some of them, while they understood why I was upset, said that it was wrong of me to leave Sarah's birthday dinner and that I should have just ignored what Mary was saying and stuck around. I feel like they may be right, and that I may have ruined her birthday by getting up and leaving, but I felt like I couldn't stay because of Mary throwing accusations at me over something that doesn't matter. Well, after reading that the way I see it, Mary's argument doesn't really make sense. It wouldn't be incest because the two characters aren't even related, despite that point being brought up several times. Also, attacking someone over fan interpretations that aren't even part of the current canon feels unnecessary and over the top. Personally, I don't think you're wrong for choosing to walk out of that dinner. But I am super curious what the show is, though. Now, this next story begins with: Am I wrong for punching my boyfriend in his jewels for tickling me? A couple days ago, I was in a bad mood. I was laying on my boyfriend's bed when he threw himself on top of me and started pinning me down. He said he wasn't meaning to tickle me, but I was indeed being tickled regardless of his hands being on my ribs or not. Anyways, during this time, probably 3 to 5 minutes, I was consistently saying stop and get off, trying everything I could to get him off, like using my arms and legs. But he simply wasn't budging. At this point, I was extremely overwhelmed, couldn't breathe, and now, internally, freaking out because he wasn't stopping. I finally saw an opening, so I lightly tapped him in the balls. This got him to stop and say, "That's not cool, don't do that," to which I responded, "I will do it again. Stop." He then proceeded to pin me down and tickle me. I saw another opportunity, so I took it, this time hitting him harder. Thankfully, this did get him to stop, but he then got super upset with me for doing that. He's very set that I'm in the wrong hand. I'm set that that was justified. When we were talking about this later, he said he started doing this because he wanted to see me smile and feel better. Personally, I don't see why that would ever be a solution to make someone feel better, considering tickling is essentially a form of torture. I expressed remorse because I never wanted to hurt him, even though I intentionally ball tapped him. I just wanted him to stop. He said he thought everything was okay because I was laughing, but it was an uncomfortable, nervous laugh that I always do when being tickled. He said it isn't ever cool, but especially because I never gave any signs I wasn't having a good time. He said I never told him to get off me, raised my voice, or told him I was serious. I feel like I shouldn't have to raise my voice for him to know I'm serious. Also, I did say get off. Also confused because was the first ball tap not a warning? And to clarify, I absolutely agree that hitting someone in the balls isn't cool in the slightest, but it's not like I did it as a way to play around. I was freaking out, and he wasn't listening. Thank you for reading. So, when it comes to relationships, I personally think consent is one of those things that shouldn't have gray areas. If someone says stop, that's when you should stop, not to guess whether they're actually serious because they're laughing. Tickling literally makes people laugh involuntarily, so using that as proof that someone was enjoying it doesn't really make sense. I get that he wanted to cheer you up, but once you started telling him to get off and trying to push him away, that's where it should have ended. Could you have handled it differently? Maybe. Honestly, in this case, I'm not sure how you could have. But when someone ignores your repeated attempts to make them stop, it's understandable that your priority now becomes getting free, not choosing the perfect response. So, no, I don't think you're wrong for choosing to punch your boyfriend in his jewels for tickling you. This final Reddit story I found interest in sharing with you guys begins with: my wife is traveling alone with another man. She's going on holidays with another guy. I feel like there's a 0% chance she's cheating on me. I don't think she would ever do that, but I just hate the way it's making me feel. We've been married for a few years now. Basically, my wife has a new male coworker that she has really enjoyed lately. That's great. I'm all for new friends, regardless of their gender. We haven't really had a relationship with insecurity about friendships of another gender. I have friends that are girls, she has friends that are guys. It's basically always worked for us. Anyway, my wife and this guy have become closer over the past few months that they've worked together. They snap and send each other memes all the time. It feels like half the time I'm talking to her that she's really just reacting to these messages. They've also hung out a lot after work, going to get drinks and stuff, often late into the night. I typically don't receive an invite. My wife just goes. She doesn't do so secretly. She texts me, letting me know her plans. But it's a little frustrating that she just goes out without inviting me, and often last minute, especially knowing that we haven't spent much quality time together in a few weeks. More recently, my wife and this guy have recently been talking about this cool hike that they want to go on. The only problem is that it would be an overnight trip that they go on, just the two of them. I am bothered by this. I know you can travel with platonic friendships, but I can't help but feel bothered. I really don't believe she would cheat on me. I just feel like I've been moved to second place by my wife as she goes off and has fun with someone she enjoys more. Meanwhile, I'm just the guy that does chores, comforts, and supports. It also doesn't help that I've only interacted with this guy a few times and usually for not very long. So I don't really know him that well. How do I handle this situation? I want to be honest and communicate how I'm feeling, but I don't want to come off as insecure by telling my wife what she can and can't do. I also know that she is looking forward to this trip, and I don't want to take that away from her. I feel like I'd be selfish to do so in this situation. If I should just let them go, what do I do with what I'm feeling? I decided to speak with my wife about the situation regarding camping with her coworker. She immediately started crying at the time when we talked. I was trying to be empathetic. I know she didn't want to miss out on a friendship. She kept saying things like, I hate that you guys don't get along. However, she did apologize and back out of the trip. A week passes by. Things were better for a short period. But then they began hanging out at a similar frequency. We had some conversations about it, but I knew the guy would be moving soon and thought things might start to resolve afterwards. The next couple of months were difficult. I still felt under prioritized and like my concerns weren't really heard. She talked about visiting him after he moved, and I mentioned my concerns for that, and she never ended up visiting. This seemed to cause a sort of falling out between them. My wife then changed perspectives and felt she was a victim of this coworker and that he was treating her weirdly by pursuing her. She ended up burning some stuff that he gave to her, including a letter that he had sent after the move. She gets defensive still when this guy comes up in conversations, and it's impossible to talk about it. In the meantime, my wife has another weird connection with a guy that feels too long to include on this specific post. This just adds fuel to the fire, and I continue to feel underappreciated and uncared for. Conversations with my wife around the subject are still touchy. After some time, I finally allow myself to feel my feelings, and it eats at me. I eventually wake up at 3 a.m. stressed and can't go back to sleep. I finally break and look at her messages with the old coworker. Obviously, there are a ton of messages, lots of selfies they've sent back and forth, nothing explicit, a sort of flirty vibe to them, and a lot of how much they appreciate each other. And then texts much later in the night than I thought about. Let me know when you get home safe at like 4 a.m. Talk after our conversations of potential future camping trips together and travel. And then, referring to a late night they were together at a state park as their not camping trip. My wife noted having dirt all over her clothes, and the coworker said, "Well, what do you expect when we wrestled?" And then further, he said, "I wish I would have held you tightly for longer instead of getting angry." Then a text he mentioned describing their night to a coworker, and the coworker being surprised that they didn't fuck. I know this is a lot, and even saying makes me sort of feel like an idiot. It's just hard for me to imagine a world without her at this point. Sometimes it seems like she really likes and appreciates me. Other times, I feel myself questioning if she regrets marrying me altogether. Sometimes, I wonder if it's possible for her to be naive enough to not understand my concerns. How can I communicate so she understands my concerns? I want her to know that it's hurtful. How do I get her to change and apologize? Fast forward a week, I confronted her. We went through a lot of the messages. She wasn't heated or defensive like I expected. She was apologetic and said she was sorry. We have had a few couples counseling sessions since then. She claims nothing physical ever happened. She had excuses for many of the text messages and what they said, explanations to make them sound less damning, but she had a hard time explaining some of the others in a way that's satisfying. I'll be honest, she apologized the first time we talked, but since then she has deflected a lot. There's a lot of blaming other people and circumstances. She was afraid she would lose her job, or afraid how it would impact something, or she's this way because of some past trauma, only burned things because her friend wanted to, etc. I need her to own her part of it more. She denied ever having romantic feelings for him at all. I pointed out things were intimate, and she did agree that it was intimate, but then immediately tried to justify why the intimacy occurred. Things just don't really seem to add up. She keeps telling me she loves me, but how could she do this? I've been a wreck. I'm struggling to function at work and have a productive life. I really just want to crawl into a hole. I'm exhausted. I'm able to see friends and enjoy hobbies, some. I have been able to forget in the moment, but the pain comes rushing back, gosh, as soon as it's over. My self esteem has been shot, and I can't stop feeling like I need to always process and figure it out. She's been out of town for a week and is back soon. I've spiraled a lot, but have also had a really good week in other ways. I'm dreading her coming home. Some of that is dreading having to go through this stuff more, but I think a lot of it is just dreading her in general right now. I don't feel any joy for seeing her right now. I just feel like I'm living in a haze. None of it feels real, to be honest. I'm somehow trying to put one foot in front of the other. I feel like so much of it is me looking for people to tell me what to do, which is not what I need. I need to make a decision for me. I'm leaning towards leaving right now. I've talked with a few friends, and it's been helpful, and they have made me really ask the question, what am I getting out of this relationship? And right now, I can't think of much. I'm not sure if I'm hurt, so I'm seeing things from the past negatively, or if the scales have been removed from my eyes. I'm seeing more and more how much I've sacrificed for her, and seeing how she's not really that good of a person, especially not in her interactions with me. But I keep getting stuck in how I would feel like a bad person for leaving and how I would be hurting her. So I am trying to get that out of my head because I shouldn't be concerned with her. I should be concerned with me. Well, after reading that, I think you've been giving this marriage far more chances than it's been giving you. This doesn't sound like a normal or healthy marriage. Your wife has crossed far too many boundaries. Whatever explanations or reassurances she's given you, I wouldn't put much faith in them. The more you listen to her justifications, the more you'll start questioning your own judgment instead of trusting what you've already seen. I genuinely think you should separate and seriously consider ending the marriage. From the outside looking in, this doesn't seem like a relationship that's strong enough to support a healthy, fulfilling marriage. Pay attention to actions, not just words. Take control of your own story because this is your life. Stand up for your happiness. Protect your peace of mind. And don't settle for a relationship that constantly leaves you questioning where you stand. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed listening to these embarrassing Reddit stories, and I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Until next time.